Hey, everybody. We have got Jenn Lee on the podcast again. Jenn, it's been a really long time. How are you?
I am good. It's been too long. You've had a child.
You have a new job.
I've started a new company. I mean, my goodness, woman. We are the
A
movers and
lot.
shakers.
There's been a lot going on over the last few months. So I'm super excited that we are back. And today, two very important topics: AI and what today's consumers are expecting. And I really love both of this. I think the AI question, it almost is one of those that recently, personally, I've been like, yeah, they'll never take my job. It's okay. But a journalist slash writer asked me about it last week when they were interviewing me. And they
Mhm.
said, like, what is the difference? And I was so happy that she sent me this question in advance
Mhm.
because on the spot, I don't know that I would have been able to articulate it very succinctly. So I was able to like really think through my thoughts. But her a key question was just like, help me understand the difference between working with a travel professional versus searching on Yelp, Google, or simply going to ChatGPT to say, what am I going to do for 10 days in Peru? And so it is like, it's no longer just a thing that people are thinking about. It is a thing that people are using. And I think that now we as travel advisors are needing to like lean into more education on you can do that. You can absolutely do that. You could always Google and now you can chat GPT, but let's talk about the difference in the results, right? So I'm curious, tell me all your thoughts. AI is impacting everything around us. AI is huge. It is massive. It's everywhere. And I love it. It will never take away our jobs. I
No, we
think we
will
both
have
agree on this. How
100%.
do you think it will affect us? What are you seeing right now?
So first off, I love both of these topics and I was excited. But when the woman called or the reporter called and asked you that question, I sure hope you didn't answer with one of the things that irritates me. You didn't say, "Oh, well, I add value. I
No,
value. That's what I do. I add value." So you didn't say that, Whitney?
I did not.
Thank the good Lord above, because that is not the right answer. So let's just all get on the same
But
page.
now I am scared to tell you what I did answer. So let's just keep
You
on
probably
moving.
told her
What's
you
the
were a
answer,
travel
Jenn?
advisor as opposed to owning a travel agency, which I'm always upset with you about too.
Oh, no,
So
no,
here's
no. I've gotten really good at this. I've gotten so good at this, Jenn. I was just at a car show last night that I was invited to be at. They were giving away for their annual car show. The giveaway was like a trip. And they invited me to plan it, to be at the event, and to present it. And all night long, I was just handing out business cards and introducing myself as the owner of a local travel agency.
yeah, I'm on a mission to get everybody to change
And
their
honestly, it
vernacular.
felt good. So thank you, Jenn.
You're welcome. So, the beautiful thing about AI is the way that it's really going to change your business if you take advantage of it is it's going to start elevating the way you present there's a couple of things. Elevating the way you present yourself to the consumer, smarter emails, smarter marketing, being able to say to ChatGPT, okay, you are a empty nester, baby boomer husband who just lost their wives 3 years ago, and you've desired to go and do this and and the prompt, you've asked it to play the role of somebody. The advisor is going to understand that. The average consumer is not going to understand that. They're going to say, where can I go in Peru? If I'm traveling by myself, I'm single, where can I go in Peru? Now, it's going to give them answers, but it's still a baby, as everyone tells you in the AI world. It's still a baby. So it's only bringing out information that's already out there and that is curated already by advisors. So, one, you are going to sound smarter, right? Which will get people to go, okay, I think I need to work with this person because I want to go to Peru and I have no idea what I'm doing. So you're elevating your what do you call it? Your brand, really. That's number one. Of
Sure.
course, it's going to save you time and the social media and all that. I'm a big believer in using Claude as my brainstorming partner. As I'm in there and I'm like, I'm trying to say this. This is my goal. So it saves me time and it makes me sound. Even the title of this, I used AI to help us with that.
Oh, I love knowing that. So
Of
the title
course.
that she's referring to, which is real quippy.
Yeah.
Brutal facts and brave choices, today's travel advisor dilemma. So we can thank Claude for that.
Claude and I worked together. Claude did
I
not come up
love
with this
that.
by himself. Jenn Lee had to put in a little bit of Jenn Lee. But I
Oh,
told Claude, I want to do a webinar that's really going to shake things up for experienced advisors, because I know the people that listen, the advisors and agency owners that listen to your podcast, you're already at a different level. I probably even said they're at a different level, and I want to shake it up. I want to get them to understand you best wake up. Otherwise, you're going to be whining all the way to your next job, because you've got to understand AI is not going away, but it will never replace you. Because we kind of have to talk about both topics together, because the reason why it'll never replace you is the consumer is really expecting an answer. And that is where I need you to understand as a travel advisor, when you're in that consultation process, that part of that process is asking emotionally driven questions. Now, Whitney, we're going to go back to one of our first podcasts you and I did when you thought I was crazy. And I told you one of the best questions you can ask somebody is, what is motivating you to ask me about going to Peru? AI is not going to ask that question. AI
mhm.
is not going to get to that story. You are. So, as a travel advisor, what I suggest to the advisors that I'm talking with is to use it to save you time, to help you look smarter, to be more quippy, to really kind of normalize your brand, make it easier for you to really kind of like show up and people go, wow, this is a smart person. So, that's number one. I would never use it to craft an itinerary. That's what Yarl's job is. I would never use it to do that. I would use it to respond to emails. I would use it for that. I would use it to create pictures that there aren't a picture of. How long have you taken, you use Midjourney and you say, listen, I'd love to be able to promote this island during the fall season, but I don't like any of the pictures that I'm seeing out there. I want an original picture. So Midjourney is a great AI visual generator of pictures. Because if you know exactly the feeling you're trying to convey, back to that emotion, people buy on emotion and justify logically. If you know the emotion you're trying to convey, AI is going to help you convey that emotion right from the get go. Just double check the hands, because they don't know how to do fingers just yet. People end up with fingers. Just be careful.
Okay, so there's so much to unpack here, but something I want to go to first is that you mentioned that Claude didn't come up with the title. You
Mm-mm.
worked together with Claude.
Mm-hmm.
So this was actually my answer to the journalist who asked me this.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it away from travel for a second when I was answering her question. And I said, actually, I feel like one of the best analogies is writing. So the
Mm-hmm.
way that I currently have been using AI is if you put in a prompt and you simply say, write me 500 words on this topic from scratch, what it's going to come back, or like tell me how to come up with a Instagram marketing strategy, whatever. If you are asking ChatGPT or any sort of AI to do it from scratch, what they're going to come up with is very vague. It's lacking substance.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, it's like a lot of times I feel like I'm reading through things and I'm like, it's saying a lot of things, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not saying anything.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like this weird.
it's a master of adjectives for
It's
sure. I mean,
yeah, like I can tell when something is AI because I'm just like, you're not saying anything, or this is just really, really vague. Whereas if you write 500 or let's say 1,000 beautiful words on this topic, and I'm trying to relate this to the journalist. So I'm saying, say you write on this topic 1,000 words, but your parameters that you need to be within is to submit this with 500 words or less. So
Mhm,
now you take this beautifully crafted thing that you've written and you put it into AI and you say, help me make this more succinct, cut
mhm,
this down to 500 words. Now it's going to use your
mhm,
really, really beautifully written excerpt and
mhm.
just trim it down and make it better. So when our input into the AI is high quality, then the output is even higher quality because, like you said, we're working together. And when I
So
put it in those terms for her, she was just like, I get it now.
it's your
So
partner. It's
if
your
we
partner.
go to AI and we say, plan me 10 days in Peru, it's going to spit out nonsense.
Well, it's going to spit out 10 days in Peru. It's not
Sure.
planning for you, right? Which
Right.
that's the difference, right?
And it may
So,
or may not be accurate
yeah, and take
in
the
terms of
accuracy.
like,
It's even there still, right?
right.
But let's take, I don't want us to go down that path, mostly because, Whitney, What I have found, I just came back from Future Leaders in Travel, the event where you and I finally met face to face years ago.
Yes.
Um,
Years ago.
Years ago, we just realized 5 years ago. We're really old. But it was, here are all these people that are under 40, advisors under 40. And we asked the question, tell me about how you're utilizing AI. And it was very defensive. I don't use AI. I know how to put, okay. And then
Got
others are
it.
like, I'm scared to death of AI. What if it gives me the wrong answer? I'm like, well, I wouldn't be planning an itinerary with AI. That's your job. Right. So I realized it's gotten
Mm,
not a bad rap, but people just are like, nope, I'm not doing AI. And I'm telling you, you're going to be left behind because
yeah.
there's only so many hours in the day. So when I say he's my brainstorming partner, it's all about the prompts. It's all about, and this is what consumers will not do. They'll do it for work, but they're not going to do it for a vacation because in the back of their minds, they know that there's more to planning a really fantastic vacation versus planning a trip, right? There's a trip that's very different than planning a vacation or planning
Okay.
an
So
event.
So, for advisors who you see who are evolving, they are not scared of AI, they are leaning into AI, they are using it, it is a part of their daily workflow. Do you see them using it as it relates to trip design in a unique way, or you see them using it not related to trip design whatsoever, but in other ways that are supporting our businesses?
Yeah, I'm not seeing them use it solely for trip design. It might, if it's a place that they've never been to, it might get them started. But guys, this is all about your prompts. So if you don't know how to prompt AI, and there's different open AI platforms. So Perplexity is the AI platform. If I were to use one as an advisor, I would use that one to help me in trip planning type things. And that is because Perplexity kind of smacks you around a little bit. If you say, it doesn't actually smack you, but I'm sure it will soon. I'm sure there'll be a buzz button. But what it does is if you put in, share with me the 10 best places to scuba dive in Italy, and you can put that in, it'll come back. And I think you have to have the paid version of Perplexity. It'll come back and say, but what level of scuba diving?
Oh, okay, perplexity.
All right now, mister, because Perplexity doesn't want to be wrong, right? It's like a narcissist. He doesn't want to be wrong. And it says, I want to give you the right answer, but I need to ask you a couple of more questions.
I like
Isn't that
that.
what you guys do?
Yeah,
Oh, y'all,
exactly. Yeah.
that's what you do. So, but you have to know to ask that question. So let's say I'm an advisor and I don't know anything about scuba diving, but a friend's called me or clients called me and said, hey, I want to go scuba diving in Italy. What's your first thing you're going to do? Okay, tell me about dates, blah, blah, whatever, some of those stupid questions, I hate on your intake form, blah, 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 blah. And
Oh, my intake form has changed, FYI.
you
I
just feel
hope you
like I've
just
changed your life in so many ways.
Oh,
Good.
and my new marketing
Totally different.
strategy is all based on LinkedIn.
Okay. We can.
I'm interrupting and telling you about this because we're listening. Sometimes we are slow, and sometimes we push back and we fight and we grumble a little bit, but we are listening and we appreciate you.
Yeah, and usually at the end of the road, you realize just do what Jenn Lee tells you to do. She's usually right. So let's go back. What I like about Perplay. So if somebody, you're going to go and do some research, but you
Mm.
may not ever, ever even think to ask what level of scuba diving. Because if you're not a scuba diver, you
If
don't
you're
know.
not a scuba diver, you wouldn't know to
You would
ask that.
know if
Yeah.
you are a
Yeah.
scuba diver or if
Yeah.
a scuba diver says to you, and you don't know, is this
Mhm.
a beginner, intermediary, or an advanced scuba diver? Well, Perplexity knows enough to say, hey, I need to know what's the level,
Interesting.
right?
Interesting. I like it.
So
Okay.
when this first came out, when AI finally hit the streets, because guys, I've been following AI for 8 years. Back when Terry Jones, who owned a company called Wayblazer, was trying to get the world to understand it was attached to IBM Watson, which is a big brain. Nobody really got it, and he ran out of runway with his money. So I get it. So it's training you as an advisor to ask more qualifying questions,
I love
smarter,
that.
smarter qualifying questions. So the consumer's not going to know to type that in
Right.
unless they're a big time scuba diver. What if they're a beginning scuba diver and they say best places to go scuba diving in Italy, and ChatGPT or Gemini or one of them comes up and says, here are the 10 best places. Well, it's based
Right.
on scuba divers talking about how great it is.
Right. 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 Yeah.
But those are people
Mhm.
who know what they're doing.
Mhm.
Somebody's not a
Yep.
good student. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
That's why it will never replace you because, and this is why booking engines on websites, it drives me crazy. Maybe for a cruise, that's one thing, but curating an experience is curating an experience, which means your job, where the highest benefit comes with working with a travel advisor is that you know to ask those questions. You get out of the logical questions, you get more into the emotionally charged questions. What's the motivation for going there? AI is not going to ask that, not yet. So don't be
Another another example that I gave, and I don't know, I'm sure you'll kind of poke holes in this, which I welcome, is
Mhm.
like ChatGPT also feels like a tool that if you ask it, like, where should I stay in Florence? Or what are the top hotels in Florence? From what I understand, it's just going to be producing results that are like, well, these are the most highly rated, or these have the most hits on the internet, or these are the top 10 hotels that like are talked about most often in the internet.
which
And
not what isn't. Yeah, right.
what I always try to help clients understand is that I can look at that top 10, and of course I know all 10 of those hotels. I'm a travel advisor. This is what I do every day. But what I'm going to be able to bring to this and say, well, I know you as a client, and you've shared with me what your top priorities are and what you're looking for in a stay.
Mhm.
And so I might recommend number 4 to you. These top 3 are fabulous, but not for you. And I'm probably also going to recommend something that's not even on this list.
Correct. Well, the reason that they're never going to get there is they're not prompt masters, right? So for you, so you are correct, Whitney. It's reading what's out there already. This is
Hmm.
another area where travel advisors can become part of the answer. And that's really where the power lies. So, as an example, so at Vacation Planners, our franchise company, we're doing all the marketing for them. So, all these advisors have to do is focus on selling, curating experiences. Part of that marketing is taking their knowledge and creating little tidbits of content to be uploaded to their Google business profile, to their LinkedIn, to whatever. So let's just say, Whitney, you've just curated an amazing experience for somebody, and you've learned 3 new things about 3 new places in Italy. You should write a little, and guess what? AI can help you with that. You should write a little thing, a little white paper, 100 words, 250 words, and upload that to your Google business profile because Google, which has its own AI, Gemini and Claude, I think Gemini, I can't remember. And it will now you are part of the content. And it's possible if you did a little video on this, here are the 5 things that you should do. Here are if you're a brand new scuba diver, and you want to go scuba diving in Italy, here are the 5 places that you should consider. You do a quick little video. When somebody goes into one of these AIs like Perplexity and says, where should I go scuba diving? Guess who the expert is that comes up? The person with the video that has the right verbiage, because AI is reading that script, that transcript, and saying, oh, you're a piece of content I can reference. So if I were a travel advisor, I would be posting stuff. That's why reels are so important. Reels done in the right way that's where AI can help you. I want to do a reel on Celebrity Beyond cruises and our stop at Bimini. Tell me what pictures should I capture? Well, AI is reading everything that Celebrity has written about Bimini. It's reading about Bimini. I've already told it, hey, listen, I'm a travel advisor wanting to put together content. Tell me the 10 places I should take pictures. It's going to give you that script, so to speak. You go take the 10 pictures, you create the reel in Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. Now all of a sudden you've become a part of Facebook, Meta's AI engine. See, there's so much more to this AI than most people understand.
So
And
talk to me,
to me,
walk me
it's like
through.
taking what you do already
Mhm.
and making it available to everybody so that you are part of the contents. Because have you ever read like an AI result and it says, based on this article that we found
Yes.
in?
So that's what I find in Google a lot is when I'm Googling and it gives me the AI results at the top and then it gives you the link to where that came from. So
Correct.
that's what you're trying to drive
That is
is
correct.
that we become the experts, like the AI results are coming from our content. Somebody clicks on our content to read more and now they're on our website.
Your website, now they know you are. It's very similar to when, remember, we talked about pitching your local TV station, your local media, or even a
Yeah.
magazine or anything. And I said the second that you end up on TV or quoted in a magazine, all of a sudden you are like the top 10 travel advisor in the entire United States of America. It's because
Mhm.
we believe all those things because you are an expert in your field. So where AI can help is coming up with that. So if I were a travel advisor and I was going on a trip somewhere, like I'm going on Celebrity Beyond here soon, and I'm going to ask AI ahead of time, hey, you are a travel advisor. You want to put together a bunch of reels after you visit the Celebrity Beyond ship. Share with me, what shots should I be taking? And it will give you all of that. And then you can even ask it, help me, tell me how to put this reel together. It'll tell you what shot, what music to use. Hey, using Meta's most recent algorithm for music, suggest music for this reel, and it will. And then here's the thing about Facebook, Whitney, and LinkedIn's getting there as well. It's going to be the same thing for LinkedIn and Instagram. What it's saying is, if you use the music I suggest to you, guess what? I'm going to show you, and you don't have to pay for it. So AI, don't worry about creating an itinerary. Use AI to amplify your brand, to bolster the ability for you to get eyeballs on you in a meaningful way. And AI understands that people are asking these different questions. And so every time there's an answer, a result. So even when I did my brutal facts and brave choices, which by the way, brutal facts was on one line and brave choices was on another line, I brought them together because I liked the way that sounded.
Mhm,
It will never
mhm.
come up again. It will never, no matter, you could type in the exact same thing I just typed, it will give you a different result.
Sure.
So I know this isn't an AI training, but I just want people to get out of, I want advisors to get out of their head about how AI isn't right and it gives bad results. Of course it does. We
Yeah.
heard somebody speak in Napa Valley, and I don't know if this is still true, but he used an example. He showed it live, and he asked, I'm not sure if it was Chat GPT, he said, how many R's are in the word strawberry? And it came back and said two. Well, we know there's three. Then he
Yeah.
said, oops, nope, you're wrong. Nope, that's not the right answer. AI came back and said, thank you for the catch. You're right. There's only one. Yet you could go in there and say, tell me about how we can use help me create a new strawberry pie recipe based
Right.
on someone who really loves cinnamon, who's from Iowa, and it's in the wintertime. It's going to come up with the most amazing strawberry pie recipe, but it can't spell strawberry.
Yeah. So you talked a lot about the prompts, and I think that right there is a really good example. I do think that one answer of how do you get better at prompts is simply practice, but also for someone who is not even using AI right now or using it very in a limited way, what should we be thinking about when it comes to prompts and making sure that we are prompting it in the right way, getting better at our prompts, being creative with our prompts? How would you guide someone who's like, okay, I'm willing to try, Jen, but like, help me out here?
So there is a training on LinkedIn. If you have LinkedIn Premium, there is a training, or you could just Google. We're back to that word Google. You can
Yep.
Google, easy, prompts for dummies. You can just, here's the thing about AI, you just kind of talk to it. You just kind of talk, listen, I'm trying to put together a webinar for experienced advisors. I've talked about this before. I don't really want to talk about it again. I'm going to, you literally just type in, or actually you can voice it in now, voice it in, hit go, and it comes back with ideas and then it gets you going. So don't be afraid of the prompts. There is a formula, but don't rely so much on the formula. If you think about it, you have to say, here's who you need to be. I need you to
Hmm.
act as this person. So then it goes into the internet and it says, okay, I'm only looking for information that's coming from that type of person, right? It does its best to
Interesting.
narrow that down. So now it's okay, I'm this person, right? Like if you're an elementary school teacher, is different than I am a teacher. An elementary school teacher, a high school teacher, if you say elementary school teacher, it's going down to the elementary school teacher level. But LinkedIn's got a training on it. We're very blessed at TPI travel at TPI, and because Vacation Planners is part of it, we have a marketing technologist that's taught us this over the last 10 or 11 months. He's only available to TPI advisors and partners, but he's kind of taught us, but it's out there, guys. It's all out there. It's really about not being afraid of it. So I would look at it to kind of wrap this portion up. If I were an advisor, I would use it to be a writing partner with me. a brainstorming partner with me when it comes to creating content, what it should look like. I would use it for that. That will amplify. I love that word, amplify. It's my new word. Amplify. It will bolster your brand. It will make you look like a rock star, number one. Number two, if you use Perplexity, which is the AI, open AI that I was talking about, that'll kind of smack you around and go, you ain't giving me enough information over here, lady, to give you the answer. You got to help me out here. So they do have that kind of voice. I would do I would use that to help train myself on being a better qualifier. Really.
Interesting. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
So, are you currently paying for multiple AI tools? Because you've listed off a few.
Yes, I am. I am. And many of them you don't need to pay for. They're free, but they're like 20 bucks a month, or it's like $200 a year, or 100 bucks a year. And I'm wealthy over here. So I just pay for it all. I'm not wealthy. I just want
Well,
to,
100 bucks a month is different than 100 bucks a year,
it's
but
100 bucks a year. But I would start
Claude,
with
Midjourney, Perplexity.
Mhm. Yeah, Gemini, ChatGPT 4.0 is free. You don't need to pay for that. And that gets you into Copilot, which I think is part of Microsoft. I can't keep up with them all. Midjourney
Yeah.
is for photos. I love Midjourney
Yep.
photos. And then whenever you're creating a reel, this is my last like AI piece of advice. Facebook and Instagram are ruling the world. I'm glad I've got stock. They basically, unless you're creating it with them, they are not going to show you. It's going to be hard for you to be seen over time. And then, Whitney, things like this podcast, you can upload that into one of the AIs. I want to say it's Gemini. I could be wrong, but you can upload this podcast into AI and say, write me a summary, and then create 15 social media posts that I should utilize to promote this podcast. And it will do that for you.
So, I'm going to have to look into this a little bit more. So, for the podcast, we currently use a transcription service,
Mm-hmm.
which helps us turn the audio content and so it's all transcribed. And then that helps us take it to a blog and to social media posts. But that's through like a subscription service, no, a transcription service using AI. So it, I guess I don't know that if you can put audio into any of these AI tools, or if it's like we get the transcription and then we take the transcription into,
And put
you know what I mean? Like,
audio, but it's more if you can put video. So if you have a YouTube link and you upload the YouTube video, like you could upload a PDF of, you could just literally, how like Seaborn or any of these, they have PDF brochures online.
yeah.
URL link, I think it's Gemini. You copy it and you put it in and say, utilizing this link, produce 15 social media post ideas, including telling me what pictures to use, what music should go with it, and it will do it in about a minute max.
So that'll work with video and a PDF, but not with an audio file.
I think it does with audio, but I don't know that. I don't know where this is living. So we have to find out. We can find out for you.
So it's interesting because just during our advisor accelerator calls today, we were talking about like how to be more effective as business owners and as entrepreneurs. And I was specifically pushing everyone to not think about trip design and to think about all of the working on our business CEO type tasks around, because I
Mhm.
think there's a lot of opportunity for growing business owners to, yes, efficiency, but like we're not always trying to do more faster. Sometimes it's just, I'm going to spend an hour on this either way. How can I be more effective doing
Sure.
this?
Yeah.
So we were talking a lot about marketing, and some people were saying, well, I have hired a marketing person before to help me with this and to kind of delegate it. But the time that it took me to share all the information with them and to get my photos to them, that it was just like, I might as well just take this back. And I was like, wait. How are you sharing all the information with them? Are you sitting down for an hour writing? I was like, just take a voice note and word vomit or brain dump to them and then shoot it over to them. And then they can turn it into
Now you have
transcribed audio, but you could also upload it into AI, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you can literally do a brain dump. You can go on a walk and brain dump with ChatGPT, and it will take everything that you said and put it into a synopsis for you. So I could 1 minute be walking and talking, oh yeah, remind me to tell Allison to do this. Another one be like, I really want to have a podcast with Whitney. And I feel like I want to talk about something with regards to legacy planning. Like, what is legacy planning? In my opinion, like, blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
it'll be like, oh, don't forget to ask Randy to find a dentist here locally, right? So you
Yeah.
can do that. And then at the end, you can just say, summarize for me and create me a task list, and it will do it.
You can speak into ChatGPT, or you're making yourself a voice memo and then just
You
uploading
can
it to
speak
ChatGPT.
into ChatGPT now.
I don't think I knew that you could do that.
It just
One
happens.
more
These
one more
things
AI.
happen every
It's insane.
hour on the hour, every hour on.
Okay. 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 Well, I really love the idea that I can talk into it because I'm really good at talking. I always, as soon as you ask me to write, I'm just like, but
Just
talk, I can talk all day.
even tell
So,
you.
one more AI thing to tell you how I'm using it, and then we'll move on. I'm now using an AI note taker during all of my discovery calls.
Mhm.
So I always have video calls as often as possible with clients. The AI note taker comes in and then gives me notes and a full synopsis and everything afterwards. So
Mhm.
that, yes, I'm still noting down things here and there on the side that I want to be like sure to remember. But there's sometimes it's like, oh, what did they say about this thing? And I can actually go back into the AI notes and be like, oh yeah, at minute 42, not 42, we're
Yeah,
not on the call that long, but like at this minute they said this,
yeah.
and it's been really helpful.
So what I love about that more than just what you've said, which is phenomenal, is that you are probably connecting with your client more by not constantly writing things down.
Yes,
You're focused on
absolutely.
the
Yes.
conversation, you're focused on asking more questions, digging a little deeper, getting a little more curious. Again, another thing that AI will never do. Here's the other last thing on AI. I know we keep saying it, but here's the thing. We could talk all day. And I hope everyone who's listening is enjoying this because I think what y'all do is so very important and it will never be replaced by a computer or a machine. It never will. Here's the beautiful thing about what's happening with AI. AI is going to get so it already is. You can create an avatar of yourself, a real life avatar, and you can just type in a script and it will give the presentation. Actually, Elizabeth McGuire, director of innovation at TBI, just did. We all had to do 10-minute presentations, and she literally pressed play, sat there, and her avatar talked to us, right? So what's happening is you're never going to believe a video again because you're never going to, oh, I saw it. Look, here's a video of it, of a politician being stupid. Like, that's a shocker, right? Like, oh, no, no, I saw it. This elephant stood on top of a kitty cat and the kitty cat did not, like, it's right here. You're never going to believe a video ever again. And so, you know what
Uh-huh.
that means? You know who you're going to believe? The human to human interaction,
Yeah.
the two-way conversation. Even if it's our two-way right now, you could upload a video, this. You can upload a PDF, a brochure, and say, make me a podcast episode out of this. And it's two people. One girl's got a southern accent, the other guy's got an English accent, and it does a full-on with jokes and everything podcast episode. You're never going to believe anything again. So it's going to come full circle. Not that that will ever go away, but it will come full circle. And we will again, just like we did post pandemic, we will again really value and appreciate our one to one conversations, our eyeballs to eyeballs.
Mhm.
And so that is what's going to make this world really love AI because the other stuff is just nonsense that we don't need to hang our hat on. What we hang our hat on is kindness, on generosity, on curiosity. That's what we need to hang our human hat on, right? Not this other stuff that we get ourselves bogged down with. So, I'm a huge believer in AI. There's a guy on Facebook, his name is Kali, Kha, last name Ly. You can follow him and he's nuts. I'm going to tell you he's crazy, but crazy fabulous. Or if he's too fast for you, just find somebody really good that you can follow that'll keep you up to date on stuff. But again, that's why at Vacation Planners, I was like, you know what? Maybe you just don't want to be bothered with all. You just want to sell. You just want to have conversations. You want to curate amazing experiences. So we'll take care of all of that because it's a lot. Every hour on the hour, it changes. I don't know what day this is going to land, but probably half the stuff we just talked about from a logic standpoint, Whitney, like, oh, download this and do this, could be outdated by the time this even airs. But that's where it's
I'm
going.
sitting here writing down a question that I wonder what ChatGPT will give me. So one of the biggest things that I always find that it's hard to learn about a new destination is like you don't know what you don't know. So your example of scuba diving was perfect. So Clients come to me, for example, they want to go to Japan. I've never been to Japan yet. I'm planning my Japan trip
Yeah,
right now. Oh my
good.
gosh.
Yeah, you sound like a Japan person. Yeah. No, like somebody who would appreciate it. You're like a
I
cultural
am
human.
so excited.
Yeah, that's
But I've never been. So I'm sitting here wondering, like, what if I ask ChatGPT and say, I'm a travel advisor, my clients want to go to Japan. What questions should I ask them?
you could do that,
Eh,
or you could flip
eh,
it around and say, "You are a local Japan. You are in Japan, or you are local who's grown up in Japan, and you love helping people discover the cool, out of the way places of your neighborhood. So you tell it to be the person that you need, the expert that you need it to be in that case.
Okay. Where I was going with my question though, was like trying to come up with the questions that you need to ask in order to
Okay.
plan for someone who's never been there. So for example, do you have tattoos? Is a question that you need to know about someone going to Japan because that can
Then you say
things
you are an experienced travel advisor who's helped hundreds of people go to Japan. Okay. You're an experienced travel, hundreds of people go to Japan. Share with me the 10 questions I need to make sure that I ask my clients who have never been to Japan before so that I keep them out of trouble or I help them have the best cultural experience without friction. That's how you ask that question. Because now you're an experienced travel advisor who focuses on Japan. Now it's looking for experienced travel advisors who focus on Japan, who are probably going to be your subject matter expert.
prompting and asking good questions is an art and it's going to take a lot of practice.
It is, but that's what you guys do every single day as travel advisors.
Yep.
That is
Yep.
where your V value comes in. The stuff that you can't describe, you have to show through your questioning.
Right. Shall we shift to
Yeah.
our
What
other brutal
next?
facts and brave choices?
That's yeah,
What
brave choices and brutal facts. I mean, we're really
I mean,
nailing it. I mean,
seriously.
yeah.
Every time I talk with you, I'm ready to like throw my business in the fire and be like, start over, start. Nope. Jen said, try again.
Just small, just now. Yeah, I don't think so. Just do what I tell you.
Not like an incremental change person. I'm literally like, burn it down, try again.
Don't do that. If you pick up one or two things each time, it gets you closer, right? It's not
Yes, I
about
agree.
breaking it down. All
I
right, so
agree.
let's talk about section number 2.
So, a lot of consumers, a lot of clients, and I will say that I'm feeling this in my business, are coming to work with a travel advisor for the very first time. I'm also going to quote a statistic that I recently came across thanks to Steph Lee's annual report from Host Agency
Love that
Reviews. And I
report.
hope that I get this right. There is data that shows that by 2026, demand for travel professionals is going to supersede that of OTAs.
Does not surprise me in the
Does
least bit.
not surprise me either. But how thrilled I was to see it in data format.
Well, and there's actually a statistic in a recent Travel Weekly article, which I have printed on the floor here, that talks about how the percentage of cruise sales is increasing by to the travel advisor versus the OTA and direct. So it's every year it's going up another percent to, I think one year it shot up 2%, 3% since again the pandemic because everyone learned. So we're doing something right in the travel industry where I think where we have this tipping point, where this crossroads that we have to reconcile is, what does a consumer look for in working with a travel advisor now? I'm going to take it back to perplexity. The consumer, actually, can I share a funny little story?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to anyway, but here we go. So I'm old. I'm 59 years old. And so I was around when the microwave oven came out. Okay. So the microwave oven came out and it was as big as this big computer thing that I have on my desk. It was huge. And I was in school, and after school, my mom always gave us frozen dinners that we could make for a snack because I just needed to eat, right? And so I was in love with Stouffer's lasagna. I loved Stouffer's lasagna. Before the microwave, it would take 55 minutes for my Stouffer's lasagna to cook. When the microwave came out and I learned that everything is faster with the microwave, I had cooked some other things in it. And I remember I finally pulled out a Stouffer's lasagna and it had a microwave instruction on it. It was going to take 19 minutes. Now, I didn't go, woohoo. Instead, I was like, are you kidding me? 19 minutes? I have to wait 19 minutes to get my Stouffer's lasagna into my gut? I'm starving. Before, I was perfectly fine with 55 minutes, right? I managed. I maybe had Ritz crackers at the time. I don't know. But 19 minutes was an atrocious, it was a ridiculous amount of money or time for me at that time. Perplexity in AI, what's happening, just like with Google, when you Googled it, you got the answer. And then you get frustrated when it didn't give you the right answer because then it was all ads. Now with AI, the consumer is expecting the right answer. So what they're expecting from you as a travel advisor is asking the right questions to get them to the right answer. Now, for those who are not as sophisticated as you, Whitney, because you are very sophisticated in your business, and that's a major compliment, there are some advisors that will send over 5, 6, 7 quotes, right? The
Do that.
consumer doesn't want that. That's too much pressure. Actually,
Yes, too much.
ever, right? 3, 2, I would say one day, 1. Actually,
Yep.
one day we're going to get to what's your credit card number? I'm going to book it and send you the confirmation. Like, I think we're going to be here one day, right? Maybe not so much. It's still a conversation, but they want a right answer and they're expecting you to ask the right questions. So that's number 1. I would also say the consumer is expecting a an experience that is consistent, right? So
Hmm.
here's one of my missions in the industry right now is to resolve the consumer conundrum of every single advisor you talk to has a different process. Some only work with luxury, some only sell Disney, some do everything via an intake form. Some say you just book it online and I'll send you the. Everybody handles, some charge fees, some don't charge fees. Everyone does it differently. So the consumer is really confused. The consumer is desperate to figure out what is this profession and what is my expected experience with this professional, right? So the
Hmm.
bare minimum that I think we should require in this profession is that people utilize technology. So there's always an itinerary app, something that they can click on. It's an expected experience. You don't fly on an airplane and not expect an app to tell you when the flight is delayed.
Hmm.
It's an expected experience. So when people tell me, oh, that's what regulation and barrier to entry and all that BS, it's nothing to do with that. It's all of the advisors saying this is a profession, whether it's part time or full time. I
Yeah.
understand I need to utilize and leverage technology for me to be able to walk my customer through an expected experience of a process. That is what I want us to focus on. I don't want us focusing so much on trying to make sure the wrong people don't get into the industry because a lot of the wrong people start out the wrong way and can end up being some of the best advisors and agency owners out there. So it's not a blanket statement across the board. I'm very controversial with this, Whitney.
Honestly, I'm here for it. This is really interesting. I haven't necessarily heard it presented or discussed in this way before, but
Hmm.
I'm leaning in. I do agree with you that I don't necessarily think that the barrier to entry and the hurdles and all that I don't think I think that's a band-aid. I don't think that necessarily is the solution.
It's as silly as saying I charge fees so that I get rid of the tire kickers. That's not a true statement. You charge fees because you're offering a service and somebody is appreciative of that. So go ahead.
So, and when you're describing this, I do think very quickly that you're right. There is an expected experience of working with a financial advisor, with a real estate agent, with a hairstylist. All of these other professions that are often compared to ours, especially
Yeah.
like a real estate agent,
Hmm.
there is an expected experience
Yeah. So you're not
with
shocked.
that
Right.
profession, no matter
Right.
who you work with.
Right.
Okay, so I'm here for this. How do we as an industry come up with and get everybody on board, rally the troops to first identify the expected experience, but then also to find a way that everyone is kind of moving in that direction?
I think you do it through leadership by example, right? So, like what you're doing with the hive, right? It's open, it's agnostic, it's open to everybody. You're leading the way to say information should be readily available for us all so that we can all serve consumers properly. So you're doing it right now, Whitney.
Hallelujah.
You're welcome.
Hallelujah.
Yes, praise
Information should
should
be
be
readily available
right.
to everyone. It should be detailed. It should
Correct.
be contextual. It should be in a one-stop shop in one tool for everyone.
Exactly. And you're on your
Full
way.
stop.
You're doing it. You're doing it. So
Okay.
there's that. Number one. Number two, it's not a requirement. It's nothing that you're going to require, but it's almost kind of like, I was thinking about this the other day and I had a great analogy. It's kind of like you can go to two different restaurants to have a burger, right? And in one restaurant, you've got a friendly staff, everything seems clean, and your burger is juicy and all that. So now that's your expected experience of the burger. But if you go to two or three other burger places later along the line and they're completely different, all to the negative, which one are you going to go back? Which one's standing out? Which one is the standard? The really good one, right? So when we go to events as an industry, first off, we have to keep talking about it. We have to say it's okay to elevate this, to require that we want to be interested, that we want to continue to learn, and not to talk down to people who are like, oh yeah, I'm just doing this part time. And I don't see it as much. You're not out as much as I am, Whitney, because I'm like never home. Ask my husband. But it's we need people to feel comfortable to ask the silly question on a Facebook group, as an example. People need to be comfortable saying, hey, I'm trying to learn something. Here's what it is. And then we get a bunch of snarkiness where people are saying, did you take any training? We're not here to do your job. Well, we're never going to get people to where they go if we don't lead by example, showing them and teaching them. I do believe everyone should partner with either a host agency or a consortia of some sort, because there's just a sense of community that I believe every travel professional needs. There's too much to know on your own and you're going to get it wrong, and it's isolating. And when you're isolated, you don't make good decisions, and you just look at what you've learned on this podcast already, right? With just all the AI stuff. So it's that. And it's also brand, make sure your brand is in line, that you're consistent. It's the consistency which gives consumers a sense of comfortability. So do we have to mandate that to make that work? We could, but why would we want to do that? Why don't we just inspire people to say, I want to be the best. I know I can make money. People like you and others, other agency owners who are making money doing this, we should be sharing about your successes. Not, hey, this is how much money I made this year, but you know what? I was able to replace my full-time income. I'm able to stay home with my kids, and I've helped 200 families travel this year. We should be talking about it, introducing ourselves as agency owners. I own a travel agency. That one thing right there will help elevate the industry. And then once you have elevated it to the consumer's eyes, you're elevated individually in your own eyes. When you've elevated yourself in your own eyes, you're going to be looking for new opportunities. So is there a silver bullet? Is there a requirement? No. I think we need to be inclusive. We need to help everybody, but it's leadership by example. It's just leadership by be the example that you wish to see other. Is it Gandhi? Be the, oh my God, I'm going to get this quote wrong.
Yeah, now you're pulling a Brianna on me. I don't know. I know the quote you're talking about.
Be the change you wish to see.
Yeah. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I
It's
agree
not
with
It's not that
I agree with everything that you've shared.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm missing is the connection back to how this helps us establish an expected experience industry wide for the consumer, so that when a consumer comes to 10 different travel advisors over a period of time, that's seems silly, but let's just say that they do, that there's some sort of consistency with the experience that they're receiving.
I mean,
With the understanding that there can be nuance, right? Like the burger restaurant that's another, we have an expected experience for when we go into a restaurant, what happens. But then all the restaurants have their own flair to it, and they have their own nuance. So
there's a restaurant where you sit down and you get a menu. There's a restaurant where you walk up to the counter. There's a restaurant when you rollerblade up to the counter. I mean, there's restaurants you order it online and then you go through the drive-through. They all have different things. What they all get at the end is a burger. It's whether or not it's a really good burger and a great experience or not such a good burger and a bad experience. In our industry, unless we mandated that everybody introduces themselves as a travel agency, mandates that everyone has to use this particular technology. So somebody's always getting an app. I would say we have to start small by saying we need to, where the biggest change happens is inviting others to be part of that change. I honestly, I sound very mamsy pamsy right now, which I am not that person. You know me well. I'm not one of like, flowers and butterflies and let's meditate on this crap. I'm not that person at all. But what I do know to be true is we have to do more of what we're doing now, and we have to help other people see it that way as well. And so individually, be the example, be a person that's going to go up to somebody else and be curious about their business, find out what their processes are. That's one of the number one things at TPI. Whenever I do an event, people learn, they don't care. I mean, they do care about me standing up there because I'm good at what I do, but they really just want to talk to one another. They just want to be in a community where they just talk to one another. Share with me this. This is the most collaborative community this is the most collaborative
Agreed.
industry ever,
Agreed.
ever.
Agreed.
So
I
always elevate. Like, come on now, you can do better. You can do better. And then the expected experience is this is a professional that I'm doing business with. And the word professional is still relevant or relative, but the professional is somebody who has a business card, has a business name, introduces themselves as an agency owner, as a business owner, if that's the case. Or I'm a travel professional, I'm a travel advisor. I work with families who are having a tough time getting away. If we all just started with the right way to introduce ourselves, we have already created a sense of consistency. I don't
Brutal facts and brave choices, Jen.
know. Yes, ma'am.
I'm really excited about where the industry is going. I think that we have so much potential.
Oh,
I don't know if this is the right place to focus my frustration on, but I have often felt that people don't take us seriously. And
well,
sometimes
they
I think
don't. Yeah.
people in our not I'm not even thinking about consumers. I sometimes feel that people in our industry
Mm-hmm.
don't take travel advisors seriously in some ways. And this is a deep, deep frustration of mine. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes we exacerbate it. Like we are our own worst enemy sometimes. And so everything that you are describing is important and it is true. And it is all up to us as individuals to elevate what we are doing, to elevate the way that we exist in the world and are introducing ourselves. And but also as you shared, like sharing with one another and helping
Presenting
kind
yourself
of
properly. Yeah.
okay.
Presenting yourself as a professional. I'm in a profession. I've chosen a profession. And the people in the industry that don't take you, not you necessarily, seriously, I think they're a very small percentage, but they tend to stand out because they're ignorant, right? Because they've been in the business a long time and they're jaded, and there's a reason why. We just have to be. We just have to show them. You just have to show them that they're wrong. In my case, I just tell them they're wrong, and they listen. I just tell them. You can ask any partner. They're like, "That Jenn Lee," but I believe in what you guys do so very much that you've got a lot of champions and cheerleaders out there in this industry that all they want to do is see you be successful. There are many, many, many more people who are champions of what y'all do. You need to be champions of yourselves. Get out of the
Mhm.
silo. Stop keeping things exclusive. Make it inclusive. Do a lot of the things that you propose, Whitney, and that you provide on your podcast and in your hive. So we're on the right track. And then just follow Jenn Lee, and all good things will happen. Puppy dogs and kitty cats will come and lick
It's true.
you. It's true.
It's true. Only good things have happened since I met Jen Lee. Jen, it's always such a pleasure. Thank you so much for today's fabulous conversation. I have like a gazillion notes about AI. I'm not using AI to its fullest capacity. So I do feel like there's a lot of
You
potential
never
here.
will. So I think you just find one more thing that you can kind of stretch yourself with. You're never going to
Mhm.
use it to its fullest capacity ever. Don't even try.
I look forward to our next conversation and may it be sooner and less of a break than we took this time.
I heard that. Hey guys, and Keep listening to Whitney. She's amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.